Have you ever noticed how a woman who speaks her mind at work is often called bossy, while a man saying the exact same thing is praised as confident? Or how advertisements still tell us that a girl's fairness or slim figure is her ticket to success? These little moments may feel random, but they are threads woven into a much larger fabric, one that quietly shapes our everyday lives. That fabric is patriarchy and its patterns show up through sexism and misogyny. Welcome back to the Personal Lens, where we explore the political through the personal. I am Jayanti, and today we are going to break down these terms not in an academic textbook way, but in a way that reveals how they are operating all around us, often without us even realizing it. Let's start with patriarchy. At its simplest, patriarchy is a system where men hold more power than women, and this imbalance is treated as normal. Think about family structures. In many households, even today, it's the father's name that continues as the family name. Or when decisions are made about marriage, children, or property, the head of the family, often male, has the final word. But patriarchy is not just about individuals being unfair. It's about structures, politics, religion, law, media, all reinforcing the idea that men should lead and women should follow. Patriarchy is encoded in law, religion, and history. Take the Manusmriti, one of the ancient Hindu texts that shaped social norms for centuries. It literally said, a woman must never be independent. In her childhood, she is dependent on her father, in youth, on her husband, and when her husband is dead, on her sons. Imagine an entire civilization codifying that a woman's life must always be under male control. And it didn't stop there. Until 1829, sati, the practice of burning widows alive on their husband's funeral pyre, was socially and religiously sanctioned in parts of India. Think about that. A woman's life was considered so tied to her husband that her existence without him was seen as meaningless. Patriarchy hides in rituals and traditions. Why do most of us automatically take a father's surname and not a mother's? Why are weddings still centered around the idea of a father giving away his daughter as if she is property? This system is so normalized that we rarely stop to ask why. Even today, look at leadership. India gave the world one of the first female prime ministers, Indira Gandhi, decades ago. But what after that? And as of 2025, women make up less than 15% of parliament. In village councils, even when seats are reserved for women, husbands or male relatives, commonly referred to as sarpanch patis, wield actual authority, reducing elected women representatives to nominal heads. This reflects entrenched patriarchal norms that restrict women's autonomy and visibility in governance. And pop culture. Bollywood has for decades glorified male heroes while treating heroines as accessories. They dance, they look pretty, they get rescued. Male protagonists often play opposite much younger women. Reverse the roles? Unthinkable, right? Because patriarchy allows men to age and gain gravitas, while women must remain forever young to be desirable. But here's the scariest part. Patriarchy doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't always use force. It works best when it convinces us that inequality is natural. A father's surname, not a mother's. A daughter being told to come home before dark while her brother roams around freely. A woman being praised for being sacrificing but judged as selfish if she puts her dreams first. That's patriarchy. An invisible hand steering our choices, our laws, our culture, even our imagination. And once you start noticing it, you'll see it everywhere. Now, everyday sexism. If patriarchy is the system, then sexism is the fuel that keeps it running. Sexism is the belief that one sex, usually men, is superior to the other. It can look obvious, like saying women are bad drivers. But it can also look subtle, like assuming that women in offices will handle note taking or decorating the workplace, while men are the ones giving presentations. Everyday sexism works like background music. You don't always hear it, but it shapes the rhythm of how we live, work, and dream. And here's the kicker: sexism doesn't only harm women. Men are also boxed in. Men who cries is mocked as weak. A man who chooses to be a stay at home dad is judged as less ambitious. Sexism tells men they must always be strong, dominant, and unemotional, robbing them of vulnerability and choice. Everyday sexism doesn't always come with slurs or violence. Most of the time, it hides in plain sight in habits, products, jokes, and traditions, so normal that we barely notice them. Take toys, for example. Kinder Joy literally markets chocolates in two editions, pink for girls and blue for boys. The girls' version comes with dolls, tiaras, cute animals, things that scream beauty and nurturing. The boys' version, cars, robots, superheroes, things that scream action, building, and adventure. What's the hidden message? Boys get to dream big, experiment, and create. Girls get to look pretty, care for others, and stay ornamental. It seems harmless until you follow the trail. Those tiny pink and blue capsules grow into bigger divides. In classrooms, girls are nudged towards soft subjects like literature or arts, while boys are pushed into science and maths. In group projects, girls often get stuck with note taking or decorating charts, while boys do the serious presenting. Fast forward a few years and you see the same pattern in workplaces. Men are assumed to be natural leaders and given decision making roles, while women are burdened with invisible labor, organizing events, taking meeting notes, smoothing conflicts, tasks that rarely get promotions or pay raises. So, the chocolate egg in a supermarket aisle isn't just about candy, it's about conditioning. It's how sexism writes its script into childhood, then replays it in classrooms, boardrooms, and even in politics. If sexism can hide in a chocolate egg, imagine where else it's hiding. If we want equality at the top, maybe we need to start by designing what's inside those tiny plastic capsules. But sexism doesn't just quietly box us in, it also lashes out when we try to step outside the box. It starts with pink and blue toys, harmless jokes, and double standards, but the moment women refuse to play along, the mask slips and misogyny bares its teeth. If patriarchy is the system and sexism is the everyday fuel that keeps it running, then misogyny is the punishment when women dare to step out of line. Misogyny isn't just about disliking women, it's the hostility, ridicule, and backlash that's unleashed the moment a woman refuses to play the role patriarchy assigned to her. Think about it. When a woman speaks up in a meeting, she's too aggressive. But a man saying the exact same thing is confident and leadership material. When a woman in politics raises her voice, she is branded shrill or emotional. Male leaders shouting on the stage, that's passion. When a woman online shares an opinion, she doesn't just get disagreement, she gets rep threats. Character assassination and abuse about her body, her family, her very existence. This isn't random, it's hate, it's symbolic, it's misogyny doing its job. Keep women in their place. Let's take a real example. Indian journalist Rana Ayub has faced relentless trolling, rape threats, and online abuse for her outspoken views. The message is clear: speak too much, challenge the wrong people, and you'll be punished. And this isn't just about her. It's about sending a warning to all women: stay quiet, or this could be you. Radhika Yadav, a 25-year-old former state level tennis player from Gurugram, she ran a tennis academy. Her father, Deepak Yadav, allegedly shot her dead in the house. She was cooking breakfast. Why? Because she refused to shut down her academy. Because he couldn't bear the humiliation of being taunted by people for living off her earnings. Because her ambition stepped on his pride. This isn't just a crime, it's misogyny in its rawest form. The killing was not over survival or danger, it was over control. The threat of a woman refusing to be silenced, a father's ego, patriarchal norms, social shame, all fused into violence. Even in entertainment, misogyny lurks behind the glitz. Female actors are often asked, when are you settling down, in interviews, while male actors of the same age are praised for being committed to their craft. And notice the way aging works differently. Heroes in their 50s play college students, while heroines are written off once they cross their 30s. That's not just sexism, that's misogyny, making sure women remain desirable only on its terms. And it's not just famous women. A woman who rejects a man's proposal often faces harassment or even violence. How many news stories do we read about acid attacks or murders because a man's ego couldn't handle rejection? A woman who chooses not to marry or not to have children is branded selfish or immoral. Meanwhile, a man making the same choices is seen as independent or focused on his career. Misogyny is patriarchy's muscle. It punishes, silences, and scares women into staying in their lane. But here's the kicker: misogyny doesn't always come as abuse or violence. Sometimes it comes disguised as concern. Don't wear that, it's not safe. Don't go out at night, you might get into trouble. It looks protective, but what it's really doing is shifting the burden onto women instead of challenging the unsafe systems and unsafe men. That's the brilliance and cruelty of misogyny. It's not only external, it seeps inside us until women themselves start questioning. Am I too loud? Too ambitious? Too independent? That internalized doubt is patriarchy's greatest victory. So here's the truth: misogyny isn't just some men being mean, it's the enforcement arm of a much bigger system. It's what makes sure sexism doesn't get challenged, what ensures patriarchy keeps running smoothly. Misogyny is like the guard dog at the door, barking, biting, and reminding us what happens if we ever dare to leave. The question is, do we keep feeding the dog or do we break the lock and walk out? We've broken down patriarchy, sexism, and misogyny, the system, the fuel, and the punishment. But let's zoom out and ask, what does all this cost us? Because patriarchy isn't just bad for women, it's a raw deal for everyone. For women, the cost is obvious: fewer options, constant surveillance, the pressure to be perfect daughters, wives, mothers. Safety becomes a daily calculation: which route to take, what to wear, how late to stay out. But for men too, patriarchy creates its own cage. The demand to be a man, to never cry, never falter, never show weakness, leaves countless men struggling in silence. And studies show that men are far less likely to seek therapy, yet far more likely to die by suicide. That's patriarchy's double edged sword. For society, the cost is enormous. When half the population is held back, economies lose trillions. When women's work, from domestic chores to caregiving, goes unpaid and unrecognized, the GDP figures show only half the truth. And when leadership, lawmaking, and business remain male dominated, the solutions we design are narrow, not inclusive. Patriarchy thrives by pretending it's tradition, but really it's inefficiency at its peak. Imagine trying to win a race while tying one leg with a rope. That's what patriarchy does to progress. Cracks in the system, everyday acts of resistance. Patriarchy wants us to believe it's eternal, unshakable, the way things are. But here's the truth: every system of power is only as strong as people's willingness to obey it, and cracks are showing everywhere. When young women choose to delay or reject marriage despite the whispers of log kya kahenge, that's resistance. When men step up as caregivers, normalize taking paternity leave, or openly talk about their mental health, that's resistance. When schools challenge gender stereotypes, letting boys pick up dance and girls join robotics clubs, that's resistance. When a fairness cream brand is forced to drop fair from its name after public outrage, that's resistance. Some acts are loud, like feminist protests on the streets. Some are quiet, like the father teaching his son to cook, not because it's helping, but because it's basic survival. And resistance isn't just about individuals. Laws have shifted because of pressure. Workplace harassment guidelines after the Vishakha case, campaigns against marital rape exemptions, and ongoing demands for equal pay. Every demand chips away at patriarchy's common sense. Because if patriarchy is a house, it's not indestructible concrete, it's bricks. And every small act of defiance pulls one brick loose. So next time you hear a sexist joke, a double standard at work, or a woman being trolled online, pause and ask, whose power is this protecting? Whose voice is it silencing? Because the first step to dismantling patriarchy is recognizing that it's not out there somewhere. It's here in the jokes we laugh at the unsaid rules we follow, the roles we play, and the silence we keep. So here's the thing: patriarchy, sexism, misogyny, they're not just words in a textbook. They are the air we breathe, the rules we are told to follow, the guard dogs at the door. But cracks are everywhere, and the more we question, resist, and refuse to play along, the weaker the system gets. Patriarchy loves to act permanent, but remember this: nothing about it is natural and nothing about it is inevitable. It survives only if we keep feeding it. So the choice is ours: keep patching up the same old house or tear down the walls and build something better. After all, why settle for living in someone else's cage when you can design your own damn kingdom? Patriarchy was never some God given order. It was man made, literally, and anything man made can be unmade. Sexism and misogyny may dress themselves up as tradition, as common sense, but really they are just excuses for insecurity. Because let's be honest, if equality scares you, maybe the problem isn't women stepping up, it's men being afraid to step aside. The script has been theirs for centuries. It's time we flip the page. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Personal Lens. This is me signing up for now, but I'll be back with more on The Personal Lens. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let us know your thoughts in the email provided in the description. And until next time, keep looking through the personal lens.